Namaste Nam. Welcome to another episode of Nashta with Nam. We have wonderful founder of Zareen, Vidhi, with us. We're so glad to have you on board because I'm sure our audience is going to learn so much from you.
Thank you so much, Ankita. I'm so happy to be here and so happy to meet you and the wonderful team at NAM.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
And we had this lovely breakfast cheese muruku sandwich and Oreo cheesecake from one of the NAM members. A piece of cake. We're gonna dig in later.
My indulgence for today.
Yeah, but we want to start with your journey. How was Zareen born, and how did you differentiate yourself so much from all other jewelry brands in such a crowded market?
So, Zareen is now 15 years old. It's funny, I was just talking about it with someone. I feel like I've literally grown with the brand. Started it when I was just about 25 years old.
Wow.
And I think the aim that time was not necessarily to be different as much as trying to find our niche. India was all about either very, very cheap jewelry, like 200 rupee jewelry.
Yes.
Or diamonds.
Yes.
I mean, there were only these two extremes that we all knew of.
Yes.
Fashion jewelry or like luxury fashion was non-existent. Yes. And which is why I'd studied in the US and my partner and my sister was also staying in the US for 10 years that time. So the aim was to become a jewelry label rooted from India, that has the Indian design because India is so heavy on craft, on artisans, everything.
Yes.
So just be very rooted in Indian design, Indian craft, but appealing to the global woman. And then with that thought, we launched internationally because, like I said, India was not even a platform in our mind.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we launched internationally, and
which was the first market?
It was the US.
Okay.
Again, we both were based out of there, so we just felt we understood that market better. We started there.
But you were manufacturing out of India?
Everything was in India. Oh, okay. So the entire team was in India.
Okay.
My design team was in India. Our vendor, they're still all here. Only our sales effort and everything was there. We took part in some trade shows, which that's the way you enter a new market.
Yes.
And yeah.
And how was the response for the first trade show that you did?
I think luck really had our back. Within the first 3 months of us launching, we were picked up by Anthropologie, which is one of like the best departmental stores of the US, and that's a really big sort of pat on the back because that store itself opens many more doors for you. You tell people you're selling through Anthropologie, and that itself sort of
gives you a huge credibility.
Lends you that credibility. So from there, a couple of more stores. I also remember in our first show, we were heading back in this big bus, which was taking people from the retail show to a place. And everyone was talking about this new discovery from India. And then we kind of leaned in to listen. It happened to be like Zareen jewelry.
Yes.
So that was very exciting for us.
Yes. You are present in 21 countries and over 200 stores.
Yes.
So how did that happen? Did it happen organically, or this was a conscious decision that you want to expand very quickly in all these countries?
So Zareen is obviously America is the first market, and then now Zareen sells out of Middle East, out of Japan. Japan is a huge market for us.
Oh, wow.
There was a time we used to very proudly say that we sell out of China because the entire Chinese products are flooding the world, and we very proudly holding the Made in India tag in the Chinese stores. And then there's Europe and parts of Australia. How it happened, I would say there was a little bit of luck, but mostly there was a lot of strategy in place, and I think this is what I want to tell the community as well. Pick up your partners, local partners in each of these countries. Obviously figure out where your product probably sells better, what is your cultural fit, what is your market fit, and then pick up your partners. That's the best way to go about a new country, and that's where we probably had the most successes, where we had a local partner. They're able to maintain relationships with the customers.
But how do you do the market research for a completely new market where you don't know the taste? Like, is it online,
visit
or you actually
the stores, visit the country, walk the shows? Sometimes just being out there, talking to people, getting the pulse is what needs to be done. in America we knew the market, but yet we took part in like 3 shows in a year.
Oh, okay.
And we did the same with Europe. We took part in the shows in Paris, which is, you know, pretty much the gateway to entire Europe and parts of Middle East as well. In Japan, we have our agent distributors who handles the market, but then we were doing shows with them because the people also want to see you, right? They
Yes.
want to see the face of the brand.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just a particular designer from India.
Yes.
So you need to meet, but you need to have also partners with the same vision for your brand who believe in your brand. And yeah, I mean, let them sort of also take you into the market then with their guide, with their advice and expertise.
That makes sense. So when did you start in India? I recently visited your store in India, in Delhi, in Dhan Mills, and the stuff was amazing. The collection
so
was. I
much.
picked this ring as well from there.
Oh, I love how you've styled the ring with your outfit. It totally brings it together.
Oh, thank you so much. So this outfit is actually from a NAM member, Tanisha's. She was wearing it on one of the meetups, and I was like, I have to get this outfit.
I
And
love it. I also need to get it.
yeah, and when I visited your store, I said it's a perfect match. That has happened. I love the ring. Everything
beautiful.
was so pretty, and I said Natalia, one of the core team members, was with me, and I was like, oh my god, I want to shop the entire store.
That's very, very kind of you. Natalia is a sweetheart. So India happened sort of organically for us. It was never the plan, but back in 2016, we started getting a little bit of press. Again, organically, you know, a couple of stylists reached out to us. We won a few design awards. There was Elle Design Award that
Oh
we
wow!
won.
Congratulations.
We won the Grazia Award. Thank you. And these, again, because it was sort of the market was just opening. And we were one of the first few brands that time to be selling out of Purnia. She only had 3 jewelry labels, and we were one of the 3 of them. And I think what happened was just started getting inbound queries. People started asking us, where can we buy
your
jewelry?
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we
Oh,
like
wow.
it. Where can we buy it?
Wow.
And then we launched our website back in 2016. Again, it was a very, very sort of makeshift, just getting there, just putting some products out there. Most of our collections weren't even necessarily geared towards the Indian market. We had no festive collections because we were an all-out sort of global label.
Yes.
And then slowly, you know, as the market was also getting ready, we were also expanding.
Yes.
We, you know, added our festive collections for the Diwali season, for the wedding season. So by the time COVID happened, our website, you know, we were already there. We were like fully ready, and COVID was a big year of growth for us because that's when pretty much everyone moved
to
online.
online. So actually, physical. You didn't start with the physical store.
This physical store that you're talking about is actually 2023.
Oh
you know,
wow! Quite recent.
very, very recent. I was pregnant, and then this entire opportunity came by us, and I was doing up the store pretty much as late as my 9th month.
Wow.
And this is a very funny story because I have to tell you, and you know, a lot of times like people ask me this question, like, you know, how was the gap post having the baby? And I tell them the story. I delivered, and then that night, couple of hours later, my husband, who was with me, is saying, you know, don't mind, but your sister's left a voice note. I'm going to make you hear it because she needs an answer to this ASAP. So that's what I mean, you know, as a founder, like sometimes there are, I mean, my maternity break was officially going on and I was 2 hours into being a mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, that voice note needed an urgent answer.
Oh wow! Like that's a life of an entrepreneur in spite of being a mom.
I wouldn't say, I mean, I had my break after that.
Yeah.
As after she got that answer, I made sure she didn't disturb me again. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta do
you
it,
need
gotta
to be
do.
there. You need to be
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to know from you, celebrities like Priyanka Chopra, Sonam Kapoor, and Taapsee Pannu have worn Zareen jewelry. Like, how did that happen? Did you approach them, or it happened
This was
organically?
insane. And Sonam Kapoor's like literally on everyone's wish list, right? And she was our first one ever, and that was a cover.
Oh wow!
So this happened with Harper's Bazaar. One of the stylists approached us, took the jewelry. She didn't even tell what it was for. We thought maybe it's a story.
Yes.
You know, we'll get a small little feature in the magazine.
Yes.
And then the magazine came out, and we're very eagerly we've gone to buy it, and we're flipping the pages
see what
to
is
see.
it.
And then my sister was like, "Wait, is it the cover?"
Oh wow!
And then that's where we were on Sonam Kapoor, and that obviously was we were jumping in joy. It was it felt very, very.
I like she's the best brand icon for the
You-
jewelry or a
when
fashion.
you think of style, when you think of
Yes.
fashion, obviously
Yes.
Sonam Kapoor's sort of stamp of approval doesn't get better than that.
Yes.
But yeah, again, now for anyone who's looking to crack the celebrity code, I think the way to this is approach the stylist. A lot of times they're very open to it. Just send your lookbooks, let them have it. As soon as an opportunity comes by, they will reach out to you. They need the clothes or the jewelry or the footwear as much as you also want it. And a lot of times celebrity have mandates to kind of try out new stuff. So reach out. I think the more you put yourself out there, things will sort of open. You need to be there when that opportunity strikes.
Yeah, Vidhi, that's a very, very good point, because as mompreneurs, we hesitate that people might say no, and we just don't reach out.
I think as long as you realize that the max that can happen is a no, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna go up to someone, wanna say hi, do it, and the max that's gonna happen is they're gonna maybe give you a cold shoulder, and you walk back, but you give yourself a pat on the shoulder
Yes,
for trying.
yes.
I think if we don't make it as big of a deal in our head, sort of break it down, like okay, everyone at some point was struggling.
Yes.
And I get it. A lot of times people come to us as well, and then I remember this that 15 years ago I was scared to do something like
Yes.
this, to go to an established designer and ask for help. So I think everyone's also friendlier than what we think they are.
Okay.
Um,
But is there specific tips that you would give, like to approach a message in a certain way, or
I think a lot of people don't like to be DM'd on Instagram only.
Okay.
So if you don't have an email address anywhere, it's okay to DM them and ask them for an email address.
Okay.
Saying I want an official email to send to you, so can I have your email address? That's a good way to do it.
So email definitely
Email
works.
is definitely a better, even if you have their phone numbers, don't go all out calling them.
Yes.
People don't appreciate that
Yes,
these days.
yes. And nobody has time.
Nobody
really.
has time.
Yes.
As sad as that sounds, we just
Yeah.
okay. You want something? I'll get to it on my own
Yes,
time.
yes.
So, but reach out. I would definitely still say just reach out. Have your wish list ready, and start
With a very clear message.
with a very clear message, with
Yeah.
a very clear ask, and send out your lookbooks, ask for help, ask for a very, very clear mandate. This is what I'm looking for. People will help.
That's a very, very good tip. I wanted to ask you, you have a huge community on Instagram. How did that happen, and what are the few tips or advice that you give to a brand who's trying to build an
This
Instagram
is a
community?
tough one. Instagram's changing so much.
Yes.
Ma'am.
And so many brands are struggling, but
And-
you still did it.
So we sort of started with Instagram when Instagram was launched,
Yes.
and I think it was easier back then. But I think one thing that would help everyone is find your voice and stay authentic to it. I think that is gonna help. Don't try and do everything. Don't try and be everyone. What are your main content pillars? Is it is it your jewelry? Is it your people? Is it your community? Break it down, and then make sure you're featuring them every now and then. Have a calendar in place. Again, what I would say is just finding that tone and just being authentic to it is probably my biggest advice. The other thing is people like relatable content these days, so make it as human as possible, which probably means if you can find relatable faces, your own community. UGCs are really big, which is user generated content, which just means if there's someone who's trying out your product, whether it's in terms of food or in terms of jewelry, ask them for their honest feedback and put it out. I think the more transparent you are as a brand, the more people can relate to you, and the trust factor gets established. And I think that is if you're not going to try to sell the product but the feeling, what do you really want your audience to feel when they're trying to sell that? And I think that is what really resonates.
helps.
Yeah, that is what resonates with the audience. At Zareen, I always tell people, we want to be associated with joy. We now even have this mascot which is called the Farah. You must have seen that
yes,
in our store.
yes,
There's a
yes.
bird.
Yes.
So I often tell my team, don't sell this product. Tell them that this is gonna be adding joy to their dressing up.
Yes.
And that is what we want.
Yes.
Today, let's say you wore that
Yes.
ring. Maybe you felt happy about it. Maybe you felt how oh, it's added little joy to my outfit, and that is what we need to tell people.
Yes, and also I love the whole experience, like the packaging. That
Packaging is key. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we want to keep it plastic free.
Yes.
We want to keep it,
There was a little
less
card
papers.
inside.
But you want
Yeah.
the storytelling, and
Yeah.
you want people. The entire joy and the experience starts from the packaging itself. So
Yes.
there is a little bit of thought and design investment that needs to go into it.
Yes, I wanted to know what have been your biggest challenges and how you've overcome them.
Challenges keep changing as as you go through the entire journey of your brand. I feel like my current challenge probably is more about hiring. There's a very interesting line I heard.
Yes.
Do you hire to become the company that you want to become, or do you hire as for the company you are?
Yes.
And I feel like that is a very that's a very challenging question, because obviously it's sometimes as a brand harder to invest in talent till you get to a certain level.
Yes.
But at the same time, maybe that would become your biggest bottleneck
Yes.
to get to that level.
Yes.
As founders, there's only that much we can do. Sometimes you hit your ceilings.
Yes.
And you need to bring on the talent that can do their work better.
Yeah, so you need to really invest in
You
it.
need to invest in
Yeah.
the right talent, and then you need to delegate.
Yes.
I think once you have the right team, you also need to let them do the right
Yes.
work. Right?
Give them empower them.
Empower them. Give them the space to even make mistakes. I think that's
Yes.
also very important.
Yes.
They need to not be under the fear of just this entire box.
Yes.
So definitely I feel like while my style as a leader is to empower, but I do feel like the current challenge probably is to get the right minded people in the team who are also with the same vision, wanting to continue and wanting to drive the growth.
Yeah, so do you do a lot of trainings and open houses? Like, how are you structuring this with
So
the...
half my maybe more than half my time goes in hiring.
Okay.
And I think this is a struggle across
Oh,
founders that I
yes.
speak to. Most of them feel like they're just HR managers, or
Yes,
like
so
they're
mostly
just
interviewing
they're
and
mostly interviewing, but that is the biggest investment you can
Yes.
make in your company.
Yes.
And then there's
How
a
big
training
is
protocol.
your team now?
We are above 25 people.
Okay. And across geographies.
No, this is my office team,
Okay,
and then there's
okay.
obviously my manufacturing setup is
Okay,
completely
okay,
different,
okay.
and then the agents that I have are completely
Yes.
different as well. But this is my in-office team, which
Okay,
is my
okay.
accounts, my design team,
Yes.
my content team, and my operations team.
So you started your venture when you were not a mom, but you became a mom. So what changed after becoming a mom? Because it's harder to be a mom as well. And I want to know, how do you balance it all? Because a lot of us still struggle.
I should not be
And-
asking you that, Ankita. You're a much more experienced mom. I have a 17-month-old. I feel like the word balance is probably the most misused and maybe the most stressful word for us. I don't believe in balance.
Yes.
And now this is something again very interesting that I want to tell you guys. If you divide your life into whatever number of quadrants you have your family, you have your work, you have your kids, you have your personal life, and all of them have to add to 100. Now, at any point, they all can't be 25, 25, 25, or let's say if you have two
Yes.
quadrants, they can't be 50 and 50. That balance does not exist.
Does not exist.
And if that balance, you're striving for that balance, you're only putting too much stress on yourself. Right after the baby, I took some time to myself.
Yes.
Obviously, I was there if there was something very urgent that my team needed me for. But my entire tilt happened to me, myself, my baby. I needed that 75%, and if I had time, I would give it to them.
Yes.
Slowly, this is sort of coming back to a smaller percentage. My baby has a little bit of an expectation of a routine, and
Now-
I'm able to get back to
Yes.
whatever work. But I think you have to identify what your priority is, And let that sort of be your mainstay, and then everything else has to accommodate. That is balance.
Yes.
The other things automatically have to shrink down.
Yes.
Now that is balance. The other things constantly trying to take up space.
Yes, Vidhi, I
That's
also
where-
strongly believe that balance is a myth. It's all about prioritizing one thing at a time.
100%, and
Yeah.
mostly prioritizing yourself, Ankita.
Yes.
I mean, I cannot be present to my baby, to my work, if I am not present for myself.
Yes.
I take and I say that with zero guilt. I love to take time for
Yes,
myself.
in fact, your necklace also says that,
I
right?
am wearing a collection
Yeah.
from our collection from Mother's Day last year, and this is a tiger which we got
Beautiful
for Mother's
piece.
Day. Thank you. And this was to remind ourselves that it's okay to be a tigress in life. Now whether it's for your child, whether it's for yourself, be a tigress out there and just without guilt.
Yeah.
But again, coming back to how I strive for that little bit of semblance is I schedule a lot. Every Sunday evening, I schedule what my week looks like. Whether the number of days I'm in my office, so my team knows what my meetings are. I try and batch them up. I try and delegate as much work as I can. My child is also on some kind of routine, so I know at home there's an expectation from him.
Yes.
Obviously get your support. At home I have my in-laws and my husband when he's home. At work I have my team, my sister who's also my
Yes,
partner.
co-founder.
She's someone who's very understanding of when I need that time. So your entire support system is very key, very important to
Yes.
how you navigate this. But at the same time, there will be days when everything will fall apart.
Yeah.
There will be days you can strive for success, but there'll be days when everything will come crashing,
Yeah.
and you have to be okay with that. I mean, you could plan for success.
Yes.
But-
Yeah. Planning is the key. But like today, we planned so much for the episode, and last minute there was
Yeah.
this holiday at my kids' school.
Well, there
So
you go.
everything
Oh, yeah,
falls
today's one.
apart, and then
Exactly.
you just have to have a contingency plan at the last
That's
minute.
exactly.
And you
how
have to
it
be
is.
okay with it.
And you have to learn. If motherhood teaches you
Yes.
anything, it is to roll with it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I feel like we mothers are probably stronger than what we realize.
Yes.
But at the same time, let's not constantly wear our strength as a kid,
Yes.
because I think that itself is just too much pressure.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned this. Last piece of advice that you want to give to a woman or a mom entrepreneur who wants to start out in a jewelry business now.
Firstly, I think own your dream. Don't be fearful of having an ambition. I think a lot of times mothers are just scared.
Yes.
To admit also that I want to have a dream. There's this guilt. Can I chase something of my own? So I think own it. And then go out there and ask for help. You've got this lovely community who I'm sure will love to help you with
Yes.
advice. Write down your action steps and then see who can help you connect the dots. I feel like the world is there to help you in much more ways than we realize it.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to ask for help.
Sometimes you just need to trust the process and ask for help.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This
Thank
is
you.
really lovely. Thank you so
Thank you
much
for having
coming.
me, and this has been wonderful. So easy talking to you.
Thank you for coming. I'm sure everybody has so much to learn from this podcast,
Well, I hope
and we
we-
absolutely loved having you here.
Thanks, Ankita.
You want to try some of our cheesecake?
Thanks, yeah. This looks absolutely lovely. Whom did you say this is from?
A piece of cake by Upasana. She's an AM member, and she sent this early morning from Gurgaon.
Oh, wow.
So,
This is lovely.
Yeah.
Upasana, you nailed it. Super.
thank you so much, Vidhi, for coming.
Thank
and
you
this
so
is a
much.
gift from NAM.
Thank
This
you.
is made by a
Ankita, this is
member.
lovely.
It's an organic skincare from Roop Naturals.
You
I
can never
hope you-
have too much skincare.
Yeah, I know. I hope you like it.
Thank you.